We are just over halfway through the season. Chelsea are 10th in the Premier League. 12 points off top four, and you are, let me do my math, 17 points off top of the table. A real vague, generic question to kick this section off. Halfway through Poch's first season, where's your head at?
I don't think it's... Firstly, I don't think it's that surprising where we are. But secondly, I don't think anybody has covered themselves in glory. Like, as much as I dislike the ownership, and I think that whoever is the Chelsea manager, I think they are set up to fail, I believe that Pochettino's made a pig's ear of the job. And I don't really understand why it's not discussed. Well, because he hasn't done anything particularly impressive. Chelsea aren't a better team today than we were under Graham Potter. We aren't a better team today than we were under Frank Lampard. You know, we are a very beatable team. We're a very predictable team. We aren't a team that's able to find solutions. The way that he selects his team makes no sense to me. And as much as I do feel sorry for Pochettino having to work with Clearlake, but equally, his team selection makes no sense. We can have a left-back on the pitch. Like, you've got Maatsen on the pitch, and he'll be playing right-back. You've then got somebody who's, like, perfectly capable of playing at left-back, and they play Colwill there. It makes no sense. You've got Colwill left-back, you've got Maatsen right-back. Surely, if Maatsen's on the pitch, he plays at left-back. Do you know what I mean? Like, play players out of position when it's necessary, but not when you have the right players on the pitch, and they're just weirdly playing out of position for no reason.
11 days ago on your YouTube channel, the caption here is Chelsea must sack Pochettino.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see what he's done to keep his job. The only defence, and I do empathise with this thought, the only reason to keep him is because there is a theory that the manager isn't the problem at Chelsea. So
that's fair. You mentioned the ownership, the absolute mess they've made over the last... I mean, do you know what? I'll give you my take as a non-Chelsea fan on Poch. And Rory, I have had arguments with people on talkSPORT Breakfast, with mates in the pub, and I think you're going to disagree with me here. I think Pochettino is an outstanding coach. I think the work he did at Tottenham is criminally underrated. There'll be someone listening right now driving and they'll go, oh, we didn't win a trophy.
Yeah, me.
Granted,
I mean, I'll be saying exactly the same thing.
With the budget he had at Tottenham, the small budget he had a net spend at Tottenham, which was virtually zero. He took them to a Champions League final. People mock Pochettino for not winning the Champions League at Tottenham. That's the biggest compliment you can pay Pochettino at Tottenham, okay? That's a negative. Rory, they had one season in the Champions League before he turned up, and with a budget of £0, he had them top four football every season, in the Champions League final, competing for league titles, improving players, playing good football, and the resources he had were nowhere near the same as other clubs. No. Therefore, I think he proved... Hear me out.
He had more resources.
Therefore, I think he proved... Don't say PSG, because you just said that
he had more resources than some of the teams that did win silverware in that period.
Well, we're using Leicester as the example there, aren't you, I'm assuming? Okay, but Leicester, as we know, Rory, is an... No, you can't compare everything to that. If you're going to slag off everyone...
but I'm just saying...
Because that was a unique circumstance, wasn't it, right?
It was indeed, but the point is that he didn't spend... You brought up the spend, I didn't. You brought up the spend, and the team that won the league spent less.
Okay, and again, I completely take your point, and that's fair, but I don't think that's fair to use that as a stick to beating me, because what we witnessed in that season is a one-off freak season that will never happen ever again. The point I'm making is, I think he proved at Tottenham that he's a very, very skilled coach. I think at Chelsea, hear me out, I think with time at Chelsea, and we know at Chelsea, he's going to get given money to spend. We know it's a mess at the moment, a massive squad, a lot of injuries. I'm really clear on this. I think he's a good coach. Give him time to build a squad, get rid of some of these overpaid, overpriced players, and I really think, I'm convinced, he will win trophies at Chelsea. I think to say sack him after 19 games, I think it's really harsh.
To say that you're convinced he'll win silverware is based only on opinion, isn't it?
Well, everything's an opinion, isn't it? Nothing's a fact,
some things are based on fact, though.
No, it's not.
Track record of silverware.
Well, why didn't Conte win a trophy at Spurs? He wins trophies everywhere he goes. He won a trophy at Spurs. That's a fact, isn't it?
No.
Nothing's a fact, though, is it?
I think Conte probably would have won a trophy at Tottenham if he'd stayed there longer.
Right, but that's an opinion, right?
But Conte wins silverware everywhere he goes.
Well, he didn't win it at Tottenham.
No, but he wins silverware everywhere. So maybe Tottenham are the anomaly. When you come into Chelsea are a team that wins silverware.
Sure.
Chelsea are historically win silverware.
Poch could win silverware at Chelsea.
What? What can we win?
think in the cup. Sorry,
what, a League Cup?
Well, he's not far off that, is he?
I mean, we'll play Liverpool in the final if you think we're favourites for that.
No, I don't think.
I'd disagree.
I don't think. I'm not saying he's going to win you the Premier League or the Champions League next season. But
Which is the standard.
I genuinely,
But
sure.
that's the standard that the club has come to.
But it hasn't been over the last couple of seasons, and therefore I think a little bit of leeway is needed.
When you say last couple of seasons,
Well,
two and a half years ago, we were the best team in the world.
Okay, couple of seasons. That's 2 years.
Yeah, 2.5 years ago, though, we were the best team in the world.
So you really, really don't think? But we know the football club, Rory, has changed dramatically in those 2.5 years.
Yeah, it has.
You've said the ownership's the worst thing to happen to that football club.
It is.
So does Poch not need a little bit of time to build that squad?
I would agree with you that he'd need time if there was time to give him. If I'd seen any sort of improvement. But we're the same as we were under Graham Potter, and I think
Jurgen Klopp, after 100 games at Liverpool, had an identical record to Brendan Rodgers.
No, but Jurgen Klopp's
identical
record to Rodgers at Liverpool
after 100 league games, after two and a bit seasons. Yeah. I promise you.
Yeah, no, I believe
so
you.
So I'm saying that, if you want to Klopp didn't excel in his first couple of years.
No, that is excelling though. Brendan Rodgers was 4 points away from winning the league with 3 games to go.
4, but 5 seasons in, he had one good season. I don't think Liverpool fans would have been happy with that after 2 seasons. I know it was about a bigger picture.
When they brought in Jurgen Klopp, they brought him in because of the ethos and what he did at Dortmund and Mainz, and ultimately brought him in for a culture change at the club. We've brought Pochettino in because he is a good manager, and I do agree with you, which is what you called him, a good manager. He is that, but he's nowhere near good enough. He's not an elite level manager. He's not a top tier manager. He's nowhere near the top rung of managers in the Premier League. In fact, he's not even better than Aston Villa's manager at the moment. Like if you did a Premier League table of managers, Mauricio Pochettino would do well to be in the top 5. That isn't good enough.
So go on, Klopp, Guardiola, Emery.
Klopp is obviously better than him. Guardiola is obviously better than him. Unai Emery is obviously better than him. I think it's difficult to argue that Mikel Arteta isn't better than him, and therefore he's 5th potentially. Okay. But he's also overseeing a squad. However bad Chelsea are, and I don't like the squad at all, really. We're not. It's not the 10th worst squad.
No, that's
so
fair.
By definition, he's underperforming.
I don't think you'll finish 10th.
No,
I'm not saying you'll finish 4th, and I appreciate that's not good enough. Okay, sorry. 11 days ago, Chelsea must sack Pochettino. Who do you want to bring in?
That's a difficult thing. That's a really difficult thing. What I would do, I would subscribe to the same theory that I said for Manchester United. The top tier, So when we were appointing Pochettino, I didn't want him at Chelsea. He's far too Tottenham to be the Chelsea manager, if I'm totally honest. But also, he's at the time I wanted Enrique. I thought Luis Enrique's won a chance. Let's get him in. It makes more sense to me to bring in somebody like that. I would say somebody who is clearly proven. So if you say Pochettino, and you are right, people can fight back.
Oh, they do.
And they do. And I don't.
I think much more people agree with you than me on this.
Yeah,
if I put this out on Twitter, I think they would.
I think people can fight back. There are some managers that you can't push back with. Like, for example, Ancelotti. He's not right for Chelsea at the moment. But Ancelotti, if I say Ancelotti is the best manager in the world, you can't really argue with it, okay? You could maybe disagree, but there is a theory where Ancelotti is the only manager to have won the league in all 5 top leagues, therefore he's the best manager, in theory. A manager like that, an Enrique, an Ancelotti, a Conte, a Zidane, somebody like that. Look, there's nothing in it for those managers to come to Chelsea at the moment. They would be... If you were friends with Zidane, you would go, not there, obviously not there. In the way that you'd go, not Manchester United, obviously not there. But from my perspective, that's who I want. I want somebody like that. The other thing with Pochettino, and this is purely emotion. This is a fan talking, not obviously I'm not even a journalist, but not somebody who's doing anything other than spouting like a fan. He's too Tottenham. Prior to us playing,
what do you mean by that?
Well, prior to us playing Tottenham, Chelsea Tottenham is our biggest
big
rival.
Derby, yeah.
It's our biggest rival. Yeah. The way that Chelsea fans feel about Tottenham, we sing about Tottenham every week. Tottenham, Leeds, West Ham, Manchester United, they will be our biggest rivalries. A couple of days before we went to White Hart Lane, he's saying how he sort of would love to go back to Tottenham, and he would never say no to going back to Tottenham. I'm afraid if you're the Chelsea manager, you don't get the opportunity to talk like that. It's unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable to talk about your love of Tottenham and your appreciation of Tottenham fans whilst you're Chelsea manager. And I know that I'm being tribal here. I know that I'm being probably ridiculous and illogical, but that's football support, isn't it? Football fandom is irrational by its very nature. So, yeah, I don't really like the way he speaks. I don't really like the way he conducts himself. He clearly pines over being a Tottenham manager. I think he was scarred from what happened at Stamford Bridge, when they lost the league. He's crying. Him and Danny Rose were crying in the away dressing room. That's where he belongs, crying in the away dressing room. He doesn't belong in a home dugout.
So you're saying here, on Thursday, January the 4th, 20 games into the season at halfway stage, at a football club that, as you said, the owner's been the worst thing that's happened to this football club, and you believe that Pochettino is not going to win a trophy as Chelsea manager? He is
no
not.
Trophy. Gosh, no.
You don't think so?
Although, do you know what,
convinced
Sam?
of that?
You know how you said the today's date? I would have probably sat here mid-August before he'd managed a game and said, I don't really want Pochettino as manager. Okay. So what I try and do is explore it with you via the lens of being professional. But ultimately, I'm an irrational football fan who doesn't want a Tottenham manager at Chelsea.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.